feel good today, man. I feel good, bro. I feel relaxed. You know what I mean? I've been following One Piece for over a decade, and Jujutsu Kaisen has quickly become one of my favorite shonens of all time. But I have some issues. I have some issues with both of them, especially where they were in their respective stories a few weeks ago. The original idea for this video was going to be me talking about how One Piece was falling off, how my opinion of it was changing for the worse, and how Jujutsu Kaisen was taking its spot as my favorite shonen of all time. And then this past Sunday, Heat dropped. And it wasn't even like, if anyone was around for Prime Wano. Oh yeah, hold up. For the people that were around in Wano, saw all the lore that was getting dropped around Odin and whatnot. You remember that time where people were saying One Piece is peak fiction. It's the best story of all. It's the story of all stories. It's all these great things. And then just kind of, for me, it got stale. It got stale because something that happens in One Piece is characters don't die. You know, at this point in the story, I'm all but confident that the main characters have every power, every piece of gear, every whatever it might be, they have a way to work out the situations. I don't ever fear for them. Which, when you feel like everyone's just kind of running through on a Luffy government revenge tour, everyone's just kind of like, yo, I don't care what you throw at us, we're gonna handle this. It's fun. It's definitely still fun. It's never not been fun, but it's not as thrilling. Which is why JJK was quickly shooting up the ranks of being this amazing manga. If you see my eye twitching throughout this, I don't know what that is. I don't know why it's doing that. It was quickly rising the ranks of one of my favorite mangas of all time, if not my favorite shonen of all time. Just because, again, manga, if you're an anime only, I'm so sorry. There's spoilers in this. But there were things happening in the manga where it was just, oh my God. Whoa. Ooh, hey, wait a minute. I read that and I thought, I'm not going to keep reading this. And then I read the next week and I was like, I got to keep reading this. That's how JJK hooks you in, is because it's so unexpected. One Piece is fantastical. I use fantastical way too much and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to stop using it. One Piece is fantastical. It's grandiose. It's mature but immature at the same time. And I mean that in terms of not just the characters, but the overarching thing that they're talking about. Like, JJK is a very, I want to say, more serious tailored manga or story, just because it deals with curses and like these negative, maybe if you want to go that deep, demonic things, but it definitely deals with like the afterlife and then death and people's intentions and how negative feelings manifest, all these things. One Piece, on the other hand, is just like, hey, the government is bad. And Luffy's just like, aha, parties. So like, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by immature and mature. So a few weeks ago, that's how I was feeling, was One Piece just kind of felt meh. And JJK felt like, wow, there's a lot happening here. I don't know what, I don't fully understand what all of is happening, but there's a lot of words on this page, which means something must be happening. And even past those points, maybe that time in between a few weeks ago and this past week, it started to feel like, okay, One Piece doesn't have a whole lot to say right now. New arc, got to start over from the beginning and build things back up. Okay, I get it. Some post-Endgame syndrome, if you will, like Marvel had with the Avengers. After they took on Thanos, it was like, hey, big bad is gone. Gotta get a new person in here. We just dealt with Kaido. We gotta build up to the next big bad. And it was like, man, I didn't know if I had it in me to really week to week wait for this build up. So at the beginning of, we're in Egghead now, at the beginning of Egghead, I definitely felt like, here we go. JJK, on the other hand, I started to feel like, man, this stuff is cool. I like the fights when I can understand what's happening in them, but I don't have a clue what's happening with the curse techniques. I know they're explaining it. I know that there's words that detail what they're thinking and doing and preparing for and accounting for before they even do things. I know that they have all that text on screen, but I feel like Sabo. I'm not reading that. I did, but I didn't feel like it. And so when I'm reading it, I'm like, man, I really want to read JJK because I know that this chapter is not going to be as good as the One Piece chapter, which isn't going to be as good as the My Hero chapter this week. When I'm reading them, and I'm just excited to get to the next thing, just so I can say I'm done reading and I know and I'm caught up and I'm not going to see spoilers on YouTube thumbnails or whatever else. That's how I kind of felt reading for a few weeks up until this past week. One Piece and JJK had some great chapters, and they weren't like lore heavy. They weren't event heavy. They weren't turning point or something we've been waiting for forever. It was just a good chapter, which isn't anything really new for them. But again, when I was feeling that lull, that period of, man, can we get to the next thing that actually makes sense, that I actually care about, that I've actually been waiting for? When you have that long period and you're starting to forget that manga's releasing on a Sunday, you're not reading until Tuesday or Wednesday, it kind of ruins the vibe and takes you out of the story. And for me, that could mean dropping it altogether, like I did with Chainsaw Man and Kagurabachi months ago. I will return to them, but for right now, they're on the back burner, not even on simmer. That burner's off. So the main thing I really want to talk about between One Piece and Jujutsu Kaisen was that One Piece really fails in the stakes department, whereas JJK almost goes too far. Almost goes too far, but the stakes are always there, and it makes it enjoyable to watch week to week, even if you have no clue what they're doing. But I do know that nobody's safe. I do know I don't actually know who the main character is. I do know I can't ever guarantee to anybody who's going to get into the show that their favorite character is going to survive. That's how I feel about JJK, and I think that's a good feeling to have, of this suspense, especially when you're reading something week to week, and there's down weeks, there's off weeks, there might be a couple weeks where there's no chapters because there's a hiatus or whatever it might be. That's a good feeling to have, and One Piece was losing that feeling. But this past week, I saw things in both of these mangas that made me very happy. We'll start with One Piece. We'll start with JJK. Only because the One Piece glaze is going to be crazy. And I just want to finish on the One Piece glaze. This past week, JJK's chapter dropped, chapter 263. It was epic. It was lovely. It was exciting. It was understandable. Now, did I really stop to read it like,
Kenjaku must have had some workaround. I didn't pick that up from the copied curse technique. Increased awareness of the source. Two of the same card in your hand. What? Of the copied curse. Looks cool.
did I really read it like that? Absolutely. Did I read things 5 and 6 and 7 times over just to make sure I knew what was happening? I did. But it made sense ultimately. I can't tell you how many chapters I've read about domain expansions where they're explaining, oh yeah, well mine works on chance, and it's also if this happens here, then you insta death, and I like, bro, stop. I know that we're working with some very OP characters, some very OP powers. There's gonna be some Deus Ex Machinas, 12 or 20 thrown in everywhere. There's gonna be some retcons, but Lordy B, I couldn't tell you if they retconned or if any of the explanations they had made about domain expansions before made sense. All I know is that they did explain it, and I didn't understand it. But this week, with the stakes as high as they are, I got it. It clicked. It made sense enough. It didn't take me out of the story rereading things over and over. I really wanted to understand. I tried my hardest to understand, and in the end, I think I did. But that's what JJK offers, is this high speed, high octane feel to each of their chapters, even when you're reading paragraph on paragraph of exposition, of explanation, of expiration, of whatever it is that they're talking about with these domain expansions and curse techniques. How does reverse curse technique work? If anyone can explain it, God amongst men. So the stakes with JJK, very rarely are they minimal. One Piece, on the other hand, One Piece isn't known for getting rid of characters. They're not known for a character dying. They're not known for someone not coming back at some point. It's very rare for a character to show up once and be gone. And as I'm saying that, I'm rethinking it. But I'll say, like, a character that impacts the plot, it's very rare that they show up and then they're just like never talked about again or referenced to again or shown again in some way, shape, or form. with that dynamic, it makes the already cartoonish and semi-immature feel of the manga feel even more immature, because you feel like there's nothing you can throw at the main characters and their team that they're going to have to actually struggle or potentially lose. I just didn't feel any kind of pressure, any kind of anxiety, any kind of nervousness with them going into Egghead. When I saw Rob Lucci step up to Luffy, all I felt was sorry. I felt sorry that Rob Lucci didn't hear from Morgans, didn't get that news drop, didn't get that insider info that Luffy's no longer Luffy, Luffy's a god, and Rob Lucci's a leopard. Everything feels like they're fighting people on mid to low difficulty. We just watched Luffy run the hands with Kaido. Brody just ran the ones with an Emperor. And now we gotta watch him face off against a jungle cat? The stakes just weren't there for me. And then they said, yo, hold my devil fruit. Egghead Island arc really started to turn for the better. My opinion changed for the better. One Piece is back at that one spot firmly. JJK is, JJK is always going to be that 2-3, just waiting for his chance. It's right there. But it wasn't even any of the big events that really struck me with the One Piece chapter that changed my opinion of it for the better this week. It was honestly one small panel of everyone scrambling to get on the ships. We all know where they're kind of at, and I don't want this to be too much of a chapter review, but I kind of have to explain what's going on here in my head for you to understand why it changed my outlook on it. But everyone was scrambling for the ships. I think Luffy is on the ship with the giants. They're already in the water. Everyone else is like up on the Labo phase or whatever the phase is. They're on the clouds, about to drop down into the water. Kuda burst there, John. Jinbei at the helm doing all his good stuff. It was in this scramble, and with one of the 5 elders running up behind him, that I saw something that I don't think we get to see too often, where Zoro looked panicked. Like, Zoro looked worried. Like, whoa, how do we do this? And it's not, I don't think it was because he didn't think he could handle the fight, but I do think that Zoro, being, right-hand man, gives him a responsibility that he does take to heart, that we've seen with his character before. But I think you could see his mentality change from, I'm not fighting because I want to fight this guy. We need to get out of here because I can't protect everyone from this guy. If it was a one-on-one, Zoro would run those hands and he would probably take it to the death if he could, if Jinbei wasn't there to keep him in check. But with everyone and all the chaos going on, you could see that his serious mind took over and was like, wait, nah, this is bad. People are in danger, and I'm supposed to be the one protecting them because Luffy's somewhere laughing with some giants. It was getting to see that, and even at the beginning of Egghead, getting to see the Straw Hats have their usual antics and how they interact without being in mortal danger or overthrowing a government at that exact moment in time. It's good to see them have those humanizing experiences where they're not just like, we can handle whatever is thrown at us. It's what I think brings so much charm, especially this far in the series, to our fodder defeaters, the Namis, Usops, Choppers, Frankies, Robins. I know that they're strong in their own rights, but they are the ones that end up fighting the fodder, more cases than not. But seeing the genuine, like, oh man, like, what do we do? Even, especially in Egghead, seeing Usopp step up because the giants are watching, he wants to impress his masters, bro. There's been so many good things, but because of the week-to-week release, it kind of gets lost. And I do need to do a reread of both of these, at least the Egghead Island arc and all of JJK, to be honest. I really don't know what's happening. Yeah, it was just great. It was a great week, some great chapters. It was good to see some lore drops, get to fill in some details, have some fun. On the JJK side, I did feel big-brained. I felt like, yeah, I know what's going on. I read Sukuna and Okutsu's explanations of curse techniques, and I was like, yep. Yeah, bro, let me just get my domain expansion going. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I really understood what was going on for once, and that was a good feeling. Gege and Oda, they continue to deliver. They have delivered. I don't really know how I want to end this, but I was talking to my friend about recording this video, and he had recommended that I do like a Fornicate, Marry, Kill of my favorite or whatever mangas I'm reading right now. But week to week, I'm only reading these two right now. I could have said My Hero, but it's kind of in the wrapping up stages. It feels kind of wrong to be like, I'd kill my hero because I didn't like the ending, which I didn't. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? Are you rocking with One Piece? Have you ever rocked with One Piece? Did you fall off? JJK, what are your thoughts? My Hero, what are your thoughts? Are there mangas that I should read? Just let me know. Drop it in the comments below. But yeah, that's the end of this Yap session. I'll catch you guys when I can.